Yes. Hare Krishna. So we're discussing about Lord Varadev's pastimes. Yesterday we saw Swayambhu Manu and his good wife Shatarupa. They are approaching Brahma for blessings to create progeny. Brahma's first three sons, they could not please Brahma. So Brahma, when he hears Swayambhu Manu and Shatarupa approaching him, he becomes very pleased and he blesses them. He glorifies them. Then we saw from the Varnashram point of view, what is the topmost thing? Obeying the orders of the superiors, especially parents. And from devotional point of view, accepting Lord and Guru and accepting their orders. So we saw. Where is the place where we can perform, we can create progeny? So Brahma is considering, contemplating. He's perplexed, but he's not, his faith is not shaken. He's just depending on Lord Krishna. And immediately from his nose, a boar appears, which is the size of a thumb. It becomes the size of an elephant. And then all the devotees start glorifying him with the Vedic hymns. And Lord reciprocates their prayers by roaring loudly, confirming that he's Lord himself, accepting their prayers. So in today's purports, from 26 to 50, Prabhupada is writing that Lord Brahma, he got
Prabhuji, you are frozen.
Hare Krishna. It's audible? Yes. So when Lord breathes, the Vedic literatures comes out, and Brahma inhaled those Vedic literatures. Tene Brahma Hridayadi Kabe. And again, when Brahma breathed out, Lord Varaha, in the form of personification of Vedic literature, came out. So that is what Prabhupada writes in the purport from 26 to 50 in today's purport. So Lord gave the knowledge, like, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was being initiated, sannyas initiated, he gave the name to his spiritual master. And then his spiritual master gave him the same name. So therefore Chaitanya Mahaprabhu initiated him. And then his spiritual master initiated back Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Similarly, Lord gave the knowledge to Brahma, and Brahma breathed out the personification of Vedic knowledge. Varahadev is coming from his nose. So that is what Prabhupada writes in the Bhagavad. So not much description of Varahadev killing Hiranyaksha is mentioned here. It will again come in the 19th chapter again, because this is the pastime of Shweta Varaha. So we'll continue from the shloka number 26, 25 over 26. Tesham satam vedavitan murtir brahmavadariyatma gunanuvadam vinadya bhuyo vibododhayaye Gajendra Lilo Jalama Viveshaha. So he grew into the size of elephant, and as elephant entering into the water, Lord is entering. Yes.
Playing like an elephant, he entered into the water after roaring again in reply to the Vedic prayers by the great devotees. The Lord is the object of the Vedic prayers, and thus he understood that the devotees' prayers were meant for him.
Yeah, this is what it is. So Prabhupada writes, one should not misunderstand the form of the Lord. It's not material. It is always spiritual. Especially those who speak of Bhagavatam, they narrate or they relate this Varahadev's body. Varadev's body again, this from shloka number 25 to 40 speaks about 25 to 35 speaks about Lord Vishnu is Yajna, and more specifically Varahadev, who's appearing here, is a personification of Yajna. Because Vedic literature has emanated from Lord Vishnu and it has been accepted by Lord Brahma, and the same essence of the Vedic literature in the form of Varadev is coming outside, and therefore the whole body of Varadev is essence of Vedic literature or Vedic literature himself. And the essence of Vedic literature is to perform yajñartho karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. The purpose of Vedas is to direct the living entities to accept some higher being and perform sacrifice for them. So Prabhupada is writing here, the form of the Lord in any shape is always transcendental and full of knowledge and mercy. But the Lord is the destroyer of all material contamination because his form is personified Vedic knowledge. Contamination is because of ignorance. Nectar of Devotion very nicely speaks about it. Ignorance is a cause of suffering. But when one gets knowledge, one's identity, sambandha, abhidaya, prayojana, he can rise from ignorance and his journey back to what it is fixed. So all the Vedas worship the transcendental form of the Lord. In the Vedic mantras, the devotees request the Lord to remove the glaring effulgence because it covers his real face. Ishopnishan. Hiranyamena patrena. So there also devotees are praying to show his face. And here also devotees are glorifying the Lord because they're not aware who is this personality. Again, but they're glorifying. So Lord has no material form, but his form is always understood in terms of the Vedas. One cannot understand Lord by mental speculation. One has to understand Lord by Shabda Praman. Rohi, can you read this? The next 2 points.
Yeah. The Vedas are said to be the breath of the Lord, and that breath was inhaled by Brahma, the original student of the Vedas. The breathing from the nostril of Brahma caused the appearance of Lord Boar, and therefore the boar incarnation of the Lord is the personified Vedas. The glorification of the incarnation by the sages on the higher planets consisted of factual Vedic hymns. Whenever there is glorification of the Lord, it is to be understood that Vedic mantras are being rightly vibrated. The Lord was therefore pleased when such Vedic mantras were chanted, and to encourage his pure devotees, he rode once more and entered the water to rescue the submerged earth.
So from this point, whenever there is a glorification of the Lord, it is to be understood the Vedic mantras. Where all in Bhagavatam you came across somebody glorifying the Lord, but it was not in Shruti mantra, but it was very much attract to the Lord. Which all places you have read till now? You have completed first 3 cantos, third canto is in progress. Can you think of some place where some devotees, simple devotees, they are trying to speak something and that is much more pleasing than Shruti mantras? Okay, I'll make it very clear. First canto. So they just covered first and second canto, where it's like second canto is full of Vedic recitation, Shruti, Rig Veda personified, 2.6, 2.7. But in first canto, simple Vaishnavas. Yes, somebody can take
Queen Kunti's prayers.
Not Naimisharanya. Naimisharanya devotees are reciting mantras. Kunti's prayer is a prayers. Yeah, they are prayers. They are direct prayers in Sanskrit. Yeah, surely their glorification. All the prayers of the all pure devotees is surely glorification of the Lord. As you told, it's right. But there are some women only, and they are seeing the Lord, they are reciting.
Uttara's print.
Huh? Mataji told something?
Uttara's prayer, Prabhuji.
Uttara's prayer, yeah. Surely, like all devotees, when they speak something, it is Sarva Shruti Manohara. If you see in 11th canto, 11th chapter, first canto, Krishna is entering in Dwarka, Hastinapur. He is coming to Hastinapur. And all the women of Hastinapur, they are gathering themselves on the top of the palace and they are seeing the Lord. And Sanjalpa, Anyonya Sanjalpa, Sarva Shastra Shruti, Sarva Shastra Shruti Manohara, Sarva Shruti Manohara. There, Sukhdeva Goswami mentions these young ladies, they are gathering on the terrace. They are simple housewives, and they are just discussing about Krishna's beauty among themselves. But this has become Sanjalpa. They're discussing among Sanjalpa means discussing among themselves. It has become Sarva Shastra Shruti Manohara. And even as I told Kunti prayers, directly addressing the Lord, or Uttara is crying, Krishna, Krishna, Mahabahu. That is also the glorification of the Lord. And Lord is pleased by the call of his devotees. In Vrindavan, Vrajvasis are calling out, they're speaking of themselves. Our covered boys are themselves, covered girls, gopis are discussing among themselves. That is very, very attractive to the Lord. The chastisement of the gopis, the chastisement of the gopas. That attracts Lord much more than Shruti mantras. That is what Adi Leela starts with. Adi Leela, the section where Adi Leela, 4th chapter, cause for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's internal appearance, 3 causes. Because he is attracted by his devotees. He wants to relish the chastisement of his devotees. And he wants to take the form of Radharani, the mood of Radharani. Basically, what is Shruti mantra, Vedic mantra? The purpose of Veda is to glorify. Vede se sarver aham eva vedyo, to understand Lord, to glorify Lord. And that is what is being done here. So Lord was therefore pleased when such Vedic mantras were chanted, because it was chanted by the devotees. But unfortunately, right now in Kali Yuga, the Vedic mantras, again Prabhupada speaks about it as Veda Vadarata. It will come in a further section 10. But so-called Pandits, priests, when they chant, they have no faith in the Dashavatara, they have no faith in Bor, incarnation as Varahadev. They just recite it for some cause. So that is not so very attractive. Basically, what attracts Lord is devotion. Ukshiptavala kachara katoraha sata vidunvan kararoma shastrak purahatabra shitadamstra iksha jyotir babashe bhagavan mahidra. Yes.
Translation. Before entering the water to rescue the earth, Lord Boar flew in the sky, slashing his tail, his hard hairs quivering. His very glance was luminous, and he scattered the clouds in the sky with his hoofs and his glittering white tusks.
So what is happening is, Lord has taken the size of an elephant, not the size of an elephant. Can you imagine how much big Earth is? His very glance was luminous. That means his eyes are compared to sun and moon. So how much big his body might be? Okay. Metamorphically, also it is compared to sun and moon. But he's having a white tusk which is glowing so much. He's scattering the cloud. He's breaking the ocean into 2 parts, and he's going to lift with his tusk the Mother Earth. That means Earth itself is so big, and to keep that Mother Earth on his tusk, how much big the form of the Lord should be? Gigantic form of the Lord, very big. So therefore, Prabhupada writes, when the Lord is offered prayers by his devotees, his transcendental activities are described. Here are some of the transcendental features of the Lord. What is that? He flew in the sky, slashing his tail, hard hairs quivering, his very glance was luminous. He scattered the clouds in the sky with his hooves and his glittering white tusks. These are the description. What continues, as the residents of the upper three planetary system offered their prayer to the Lord, it is understood that his body expanded throughout the sky, beginning from the topmost planet, Brahmaloka or Satyaloka. Mataji, can you continue from here? Brahma Samhita.
It is stated in the Brahma Samhita that his eyes are the sun and the moon. Therefore, his very glance over the sky was as illuminating as the sun or the moon. The Lord is described herein as Mahidra, which means either a big mountain or the sustainer of the earth. In other words, the Lord's body was as big and hard as the Himalaya mountain. Otherwise, how was it possible that he kept the entire earth on the support of his white tusk? The poet Jaidev, a great devotee of the Lord, has sung of the incident in his prayers for the incarnation. Vasati Dasana Shikhare
Dharani tava lagna, Shashina kalanka kaleva nimagna, केशवधृता शुकररूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय
All glory,
जगदीश हरे
Jagadish Hare. All glories to the Lord Keshav, Krishna, who appeared as the boar. The earth was held between his tusks, which appeared like the scars on the moon.
Yes, basically he had a very, very big gigantic body. So Jaydev Goswami has sung about the Dashavataras, starting from Matsya till Kalki. Granena patya padavim vijigram Radopaipadesha Swayam Karaladamstro Apyakaraladravyam Udviksha Vipram Granato Vishetkam. Yes, Jagannath Govindoji, please read.
Translation: He was personally the Supreme Lord Vishnu and was therefore transcendental. Yet, because he had the body of a hog, he searched after the earth by smell. His tusks were fearful, and he glanced over the devotees, Brahmanas, engaged in offering prayers. Thus he entered the water.
Yes, thus he entered the water. So Prabhupada is writing here that as a hog, when you hear about hog, it is very embarrassing. But Prabhupada says, don't mistake an boar to be like that hog. You should always remember that although the body of a hog is material, but the boar, Varahadev, is not materially contaminated. It is not possible for an earthly hog to assume such a huge, gigantic form, spreading throughout the sky from Satyaloka. His body is, Prabhupada saying, his body is always transcendental in all circumstances. Therefore, the assumption of the form of a boar is only his pastime. His body is all Vedas are transcendental. Yes, we can read the second paragraph.
The gigantic, but since he had assumed the form of a boar, he began to search out the earth by smelling just like a hog. The Lord can perfectly play the part of any living entity. The gigantic features of the boar was certainly very fearful for all non-devotees, but to the pure devotees of the Lord, he was not at all fearful. On the contrary, he was so pleasing glancing upon his devotees that all of them felt transcendental happiness.
Yes, so it's not material. It is meant for the pleasure of the devotees, and his glance was very, very bringing transcendental happiness to his devotees. Savajraputanga nipata vega Vishirana kukshi stanayan udanman Utsrashta dirgormi buje ivartas Chukrosha yadneshwara pahimeti. Shobha Lakshmi Mataji, please read.
Carried into the water like a giant's mountain, Lord Boar divided the middle of the ocean, and two high waves appeared as the arms of the ocean, which cried loudly as if praying to the Lord, O Lord of all sacrifices, please do not cut me into two. Kindly give me protection.
Yeah, the way he dived, ocean became like hands. Two hands appeared like waves. Yes, now you can read that down portion for a part.
Even the great ocean was perturbed by the falling of the mountain-like body of the transcendental boar, and it appeared to be frightened, as if death were imminent.
Yes. Can you imagine? Ocean is so huge. This is not our Indian Ocean, our Pacific Ocean. It is Garbhodaka Ocean, which is half, its volume is half of the universe. That became means almost whole Brahmanda was filled with water as two arms. And he became perturbed. That is the strength of the Lord. Puraikshura prerdarayam stadapa utparaparam triparurashayanam tadarshakam tatra susukshara agre yam jivadanim swayamabhyadatta. Yes. Sachindari Mataji, please read.
Lord Boar penetrated the water with his hooves which were like sharp arrows, and found the limits of the ocean, although it was unlimited. He saw the earth, the resting place for all living beings, lying as it was in the beginning of creation, and he personally lifted it.
Hmm. Ocean is unlimited, but once he jumped, immediately he reached to the limit, lower limit, because he is a form of huge, the resting place for all living beings. Find sites searching for it. So what basically, if you see in the shloka, Rasayanam is coming. So Prabhupada writes on that. This Rasayanam is actually Rasatala, the lowest planetary system. But Chakravarti Pad mentions this is not Rasatala, because Earth Bhumandala is bigger than Rasatala. So Bhumandala cannot go on Earth in the form of Bhumandala cannot go and cannot be resting in some ocean Rasatala. The Earth is 7 times superior to the lower planetary systems, namely Talatala, Talatala, Vitala, Rasatala, Patala. Therefore, the Earth cannot be situated in the Rasatala planetary system. He is quoting Vishnu Dharma, Patala Muleshwara Bhoga Samhuto, Vinasya Padau Prithvim Cha Vibhurta, Yashopamano Cha Bahuva Cha Acho Achyuta, Amatsu Mangalaya Vivriddha Hari. Therefore, the Lord found the earth on the bottom of the Garbhodaka ocean, where the planets rest during the devastation at the end of the Brahma's day. What is the meaning of planets rest? Planets are there only, but at the end of Brahma's day, the whole Garbhodaka ocean gets filled with the whole Brahmanda. So it is hidden in the Garbhodaka ocean. Swadamstrayodratyamahim nimagnam sa uttita samro ruchirashaya tatrapi daityam gadaya patantam sunavasandip tivramanyu. Yes, Parmeshwari Madali, if you are able to read it, I think you're traveling in some train, yes, like that.
Yes, Prabhu, I will read. Okay. Lord Var very easily took the earth on his tusk and got it out the water. Thus, he appeared very splendid. Then, his anchor glowing like the Sudarshana wheel. He immediately killed the demon Hiranyaksha.
Although demon tried to fight with the Lord.
Although the demon tried to fight with the Lord.
Yeah, only this much description given. This and next shloka, that's it. A detailed description of Varahadev fighting with the Hiranyaksha will come in 19th chapter. This is just a short description, and this is referring to Swayambhu Manu. So Prabhupada writes, quoting Jiva Goswami, quoting some Vedic literature, describe the incarnation of Lord Varaha in 2 different devastations. I put in the chat yesterday. Chakshusha devastation, Swayambhuva devastation. So this particular appearance of the boar incarnation, what we are studying now, took place in the Swayambhuva incarnation, a devastation. Now all the planets other than the higher ones, Jana, Mahar, Satya, merge in the water of devastation. And this particular incarnation of the boar was seen by the inhabitants of the planets mentioned above. Basically, Jana, Mahar, Satya residents, they were able to see this boar incarnation, they are glorifying. Because one Brahmana cursed the whole Bhumandala to be drowned. That is the reason it got drowned. That is what Chakravarti mentions. So Chakravarti suggests that sage Maitreya amalgamated, Maitreya Rishi mixed both Shvetavaraha and Raktavaraha, both together, different devastations, and summarized them in this description to Vidura. The next verse will speak more about this. Jaganarundanamashaya vikramam salilayebhyam ragaradaivam vasi tadrakta pankam kitagandatundo yata gajendro jagatim vibandanam. Like the elephant, when sometimes the soil is little purple, elephant plays with it. When he plays with it, his whole tusks become purple red. So similarly, when boar incarnation, he killed Hiranyaksha, his whole cheeks and tongue became red by killing them. That is what is being described here. Sachin Prabhu, please read.
Thereupon Lord Boar killed the demon within the water, just as a lion kills an elephant. The cheeks and tongue of the Lord become smeared with the blood of the demon. just as an elephant becomes reddish from digging in the purple earth.
Yeah. So Lord is compared to the lion, Lord is compared to the elephant. Tamala Neelam Sitadanta Kotya Shamam Utsikshik Pantam Gajalilayanga Pratnyaya Babdha Anjalayo Anuvakair Virinchi Mukhya Upatasturisham. So Tamala Neelam Sitadanta Kotya, the color of the boar. Sometimes Tamala means little bluish complexion is mentioned here. And Virinchi Mukhya Upatasturisham, Brahma and others, higher demigods were sages were trying to see, and others offering obeisances to this. So in this commentary, Chakravarti mentions what is this boar incarnation. Yes, who else has not read? Oh, everybody. Everybody is read. Again, now to start from beginning because others who have switched off the videos, I can't ask them. Yashika Mataji, I think you are not able to read it. Unmute yourself. You need to unmute. You are muted. Unmute. Okay, she's not able to read.
Prabhuji, I can read.
Read.
Then the Lord playing like an elephant. Then the Lord playing like an elephant suspended the earth on the edge of his curved white tusk. He assumed a bluish complexion like that of Tamal tree, and thus the sages, headed by Brahma, could understand him to be the supreme personality of Godhead and offered respectful obeisances unto the Lord.
Yes, you can read this. This has no purport, but I'm mentioning Chakravarti's commentary here. You can read this.
The boar of Tara appeared twice, first in Swayambhavu Manvantara from Brahma's nostril, and in order to lift the earth, and a second time during the Chakshu Manvantara, appearing from the water. Thus, Maitreya, being asked by Vidura, narrated the activities of both appearance of Varaha in one story. It is mentioned in the Matsya Puran that there was a pralaya during Swayambhavu's period because of a curse of a sage upon Swayambhavu. It is mentioned in the Vishnu Dharmatra that by the will of the Lord, there was a sudden delge Hiranaksha during the reign of Chakshumanu.
So basically, this pastime Swayambhu Manu, one Brahmana cursed him. That was the reason the earth got submerged, and especially in Chakshu Manvantara, because Swayambhu Manu is just appearing now, and he will create progeny, Priyavrat, Uttanapad, Asuti, Prasuti, Devuti. Then over a period of time, Daksha will come, and Daksha will give birth to Diti, Aditi, and Diti will marry to Kashyapa, and from them Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu will go on. That will happen in further Manvantaras. So in one day of Brahma, there are around 14 Manus, and they are having 72 Divya Yogas. So therefore, this is first Manvantara. So third Manvantara is Chakshusha Manvantara. So in Chakshusha Manvantara, Hiranyaksha appeared, not in the Swayambhu Manvantara. That is what Chakravarti mentions. Very big elaborate purport. At the somewhere in between, he mentions this quotation from Matsya Puran. That why some, I think Ramakrishna was asking yesterday. How is that in Swayambhu Manvantara it was merged? It was like submerged. Brahmana had cursed. Because of that, the whole Garbhoda portion had risen till Svarga. Not Jana Mahar Tapaloka. It was bereft. Something like that. So this is the description of this pastime. So what we are discussing now is Swayambhuva. Swayambhu Manu. He is Manvantara's pastime. Shvetavara. Risha Uvat Uchu Jitam te Ajita Yajna Bhavana Trayim Tanum Swam Paridunvate Nama Yadromagarte Shuniliyo Radadayas Tasmai nama karana shukarayate. Yes, Bhaja Hari Prabhu. Please unmute yourself and please read before you log out.
Prabhuji, this
Huh.
font is very small. I am not able to read it.
Oh, okay. Thank you. No issue. I'll ask some other devotees to. Anand Mohan Prabhu, please read.
All the sages uttered with great respect, O unconquerable enjoyer of all sacrifices, all glories and all victories unto you. You are moving in your form of the personified Vedas, and in the hair holes of your body, the oceans are submerged. For certain reasons, to uplift the earth, you have now assumed the form of a boar.
Prabhupada mentions all these things being mentioned here. You are moving in your form of personified Vedas. Your hair holes of your body, the oceans are submerged. Basically, as Mahavishnu, all the Brahmandas come from Mahavishnu's pores. And in that Brahmandas, there are many planets. And in Brahmanda, there is Garbhodaka ocean. So that is referring to that. That is what Prabhupada gives in purport. So Lord can assume, you can read Prabhupada's purport. This has Prabhupada, basically, Prabhupada always gives things in points. What is mentioned in the shloka, that only is writing in the purport. Basically, what is given in this translation, that sages are telling you are moving in your form of personified Vedas. So that is Prabhupada, Prabhupada is mentioning in this first and the last one. In middle, he's speaking about the hair holes of your bodies, oceans are submerged. You can read Prabhupada first one, 3 points.
The Lord can assume any form he likes, and in all circumstances, he is the cause of all causes. Since his form is transcendental, he is always the supreme personality of Godhead, as he is in the causal ocean in the form of Mahavishnu. Innumerable universes are generated from the holes of his bodily hairs, and thus his transcendental body is the Vedas personified. He is the enjoyer of all sacrifices, and he is the unconquerable supreme personality of Godhead. He is never to be misunderstood as someone other than the Supreme Lord because of his assuming the form of a boar to lift the earth. That is the clear understanding of sages and great personalities like Brahma and other residents of the higher planetary systems.
Rupam tavetananu dushkritatmanam durdarshanam deva yad advaratmakam chandamsi yasya tuchibariro mashva ajyam drishitva angrishu chaturhotram. So your form cannot be, worshipable form cannot be taken darshan by dushkritatmanam, miscreants, unable to see a form, which is durdarshanam deva yad advaratmakam, personification of sacrifice. Chandamsi is Gayatri. Yes, Tvachi Bahi Romasha. That means Gayatri mantra comes by the touch of your body. Ajam Drishvi Tvang Angrishu Chaturhotram. And then Chaturhotram, the different sacrifices, different names of sacrifices, Kusha, clarified butter. So your bodily hairs is Kusha grass, your eyes is clarified butter, your 4 legs are kinds of fruitive activities, Dharmartha, Kama Moksha. Yes. Mataji, please read.
Translation. O Lord, your form is worshipable by performances of sacrifices, but souls who are simply miscreants are unable to see it. All the Vedic hymns, Gayatri and others are in touch of your skin. In your bodily hairs is the kusha grass. In your eyes is the clarified butter. And in your 4 legs are the 4 kinds of fruitive activities.
Yes. Basically, Varadev is Lord Vishnu. He gives this, breathes the Vedas. Brahma accepts it. And from Brahma's breathing is coming out. He's a personification of Vedas. So whatever Vedas deal with, Vedas is server Ahamyava Vedyo, sacrifice. He's called as Vishnu, as Yagya. And whatever is required for the sacrifice, for connecting the living entities to Lord, he is. So therefore, he has become personified sacrifice and the limbs of sacrifice and the 4 legs that has kinds of fruitive activities. He is the personification of that. So Prabhupada writes now about Veda Vadaratas. Mataji, you can read this purport.
There is a class of miscreants who are known in the word of the Bhagavad Gita as Vedavadartas, or so-called strict followers of the Vedas. They do not believe in the incarnation of the Lord. What to speak of Lord's incarnation as the worshipable hog? They describe worship of the different forms of incarnation of the Lord as anthropomorphism or zoomorphism.
Yes,
In the
basically what
estimation of
Prabhupada is highlighting is this one. First, Rupam Tavaitan Nanu Dushpratatmanam. In translation, but souls who are simply miscreants are unable to see it. So Prabhupada starts with that. So such miscreants are called as Vedavadarata. Basically, they want to do some karma kind of yajna, but they can't do anything much more than that. Yes. But Lord is not like that. Lord is something more. For that, you have to refer to Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. From that point of view, these Vedavadartas are fully in illusion. They are the lowest of mankind. And he said that their knowledge has been plundered by the illusion, Maya Partagyana, or atheistic temperament. For such condemned person, Lord's incarnation as the gigantic hog is invisible. So what? Dudarshanam. Prabhupada is just telling about Dudarshanam. Nanu Dushkratatmanam. Dudarshanam Devayad Advaramakam. You are invisible. Your form of the hog is invisible to them. Last, Prabhupada is mentioning about by the touch of your body comes Gayatri and the Vedic literatures. Yes, Mata, you can read this, the last one.
These strict followers of the Vedas who despise the eternal form of the Lord may know from Srimad Bhagavatam that such incarnations are personified form of the Vedas. Lord Bo's skin, his eyes, and his bodily hair holes are all described here as different parts of the Vedas. He is therefore the personified form of the Vedic hymns, especially the Gayatri Mantra.
Yes. Most of the times when anybody, whatever I have heard the Bhagavatam summary study, they speak about the Varahadev as the source of the yajna. All the yajna personification, yajna samagri, different limbs of the yajna that came from Varahadev. These are the shlokas which we are dealing now. Next speaks about Shaktunda Asit Shruva Ishanashayo Idodare Chama Shakarnarandre Prashitramasya Grishane Grihastute Yacharvanam Te Bhagavan Agnihotram. Again, how is personification of Vedic literature? What is being told here? Oh Lord, your tongue is plate of sacrifice. Can you imagine? Sacrifice we have, we need a plate. We need many plates. Again, there's eating plate. Then what are different plates? There are different samagris. So this shloka is speaking about, oh Lord, your tongue is a plate of sacrifice. Your nostril are another plate of sacrifice. In your belly is eating plate of the sacrifice. And your ear holes are another plate of sacrifice. In your mouth is Brahma plate of sacrifice. And your throat is a plate of sacrifice known as Soma. And whatever you chew is known as Agnihotra. Basically, we are not accustomed to all these Vedic rituals. But if you go to Udupi, there are Tattvavadis. They are like full, they're into this fully. Especially till Dwapar Yuga, or even before the beginning of Kali Yuga, this performing this sacrifice was very, very essential for Grahasthas. After performing the sacrifice only, then they can go ahead with their food, eating, other things. And still, if you go this coastal Karnataka part of Udupi, Mangalore, there you will find this Madhva followers doing this very, very elaborately. But again, Prabhupada mentions in this purport, the sacrifice for the age of Kali is, as recommended Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you can just chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. But before that, Prabhupada again continues, miscreants, Vedavadaratas. Who are the Vedavadaratas? They read Vedas, but not for going back to Godhead. They read Vedas for getting material benefit or going to heaven. This again is mentioned very elaborately in Ishopanishad. Vidyamscha, or Iti Shushma Dhirana Minas Vidakshare. Their Vidya, Andatama Pravishanti, Ye Vidyam Upasate, Tato Bhuya Evate Tamo, Evu Vidyamrata. यस 8 of लिंग वाले भी अग्निहोत्र करते हैं, वैसे करते हैं, लेकिन प्रभुपाद उनको बहुत डांट रहे हैं यहाँ पे वेदवादता बोल के. Yes, Mata. Yes. Nobody who has. Jagannath going through, please read this, translate this purport.
Yes.
Vedavadata.
The Vedvad Rathas say that there is nothing more than the Vedas and the performance of sacrifice mentioned in the Vedas. They have recently made a rule in their group to formally observe daily sacrifice. They simply ignite a small fire and offer something whimsically, but they do not strictly follow the sacrificial rules and regulations mentioned in the Vedas.
Basically, they don't follow anything, just they think it's yajna means you just burn and do something, whatever you feel. Prabhupada speaks about different types of sacrifice, 8 types of sacrifice mentioned here. Next, read Prabhuji.
It is understood that by regulation there are different plates of sacrifice required, such as Sarka, Sarva, Brahis, Chaturhotra, Idaha, Chamasa, Parisara, Graha, and Agnihotra. One cannot achieve the results of sacrifice unless one observes the strict regulations. In this age, there is practically no facility for performing sacrifice in strict discipline. Therefore, in this age of Kali, there is stricture regarding such sacrifice. It is explicitly directed that one should perform Sankirtan Yajna and nothing more. The incarnation of the Supreme Lord is Yagneshwara. And unless one has respect for the incarnation of the Lord, one cannot perfectly perform sacrifice. In other words, taking shelter of the Lord and rendering service unto Him is the factual performance of all sacrifices. As explained herein, different plates of sacrifice corresponds to the different parts of the body of the Lord's incarnation. In Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, it is explicitly directed that one should perform Sankirtan Yajna to please Lord's incarnation as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This should be rigidly followed in order to achieve the result of Yajna performance.
Yes. Basically, purpose of sacrifice is to yajna artha karmano anyatra, to please Lord Vishnu. But the so-called people of this world, right now, from modern generation, many people do Agnihotra, they try to do this, that. It's only just going on cheating in the name of sacrifice. They don't have faith in any of the Dashavatara, they don't have faith in Varahadev. That is what Prabhupada is writing here. The purpose of Yajna is to please Lord. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu inaugurated Sankirtan movement for that. Dikshanujanmopasada shirodaram tvam prayaniyo dayaniyadamstra jiva pravargastava shirkshakam krato satyav satyam chitayo savohite. Yes, please continue, Jonathan.
Moreover, O Lord, your repeated appearance are the desire for all kinds of initiation. Your neck is the place for 3 desires, and your tusks are the result of initiation and the end of all desires. Your tongue is the activities prior to initiation. Your head is the fire without sacrifice as well as the fire of worship, and your living forces are the aggregate of all desires.
Yes. So what is being mentioned is the goal of all dharma, artha, kama, moksha is Pancham Purushartha, Lord Hari Himself. That is the purpose. So Mastureta Savanani Avastiti Samsta Vivedas Tavadeva Datavaha Shatrani Sarvani Sharira Sandis Tam Sarva Yajna Kraturis Ishti Bandanaha. Yes, Shobha Lakshmi Mataji, please read.
O Lord, your swimming in the sacrifice called Soma Yajna. Your growth is the ritualistic performances of the morning. Your skin and touch sensations are the 7 elements of the Agni-Soma sacrifice. Your bodily joints are symbols of various other sacrifices performed over 12 days. Therefore, you are the object of all sacrifices called Soma and Asoma, and you are bound by Yajnas only.
There's so many things in sacrifice which we cannot do, and therefore we are not aware of it. But the remnants of that is being done by so-called Vedavadarta just to show that we are doing sacrifice. But again, Varahadev is the source of all those things. Mataji can read this purport.
There are 7 kinds of routine yajnas performed by all followers of the Vedic rituals, and they are called Agni-Soma, Atyagni-Soma, Ukta, Shodashi, Vajapeya, Atiratra, and Aptoryam. Anyone performing such yajnas regularly is said to be situated with the Lord.
Hmm.
One who is in contact with the Supreme Lord by discharging devotional service is understood to have performed all different varieties of yajnas.
Hmm. Basically, anyone who is in anybody performing these yajnas is said to be situated in the Lord. All this, Agnistoma, Atyagnishtoma, Yukta, Shodashi, Vajapeya, Atiratra, 8 kind of sacrifices. They are situated in the Lord. But anyone who is in contact with the Supreme Lord by discharging bhakti is understood to have performed all the different varieties of yajnas. The purpose of this performing sacrifice is he will become a devotee of the Lord. नमो नमस्ते अखिल मंत्र देवता द्रव्याय सर्व कृतेव क्रियात्मने वैराग्य भक्त्यात्मजयानुभाविता जाम्यानाय विद्या गुरवे नमो नमः. Sages are glorifying Lord. Yes, Shiromani Radhika Mata.
O Lord, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead and are worshipable by universal prayers, Vedic hymns, and sacrificial ingredients. We offer our obeisances unto you. You can be realized by the pure mind, freed from all visible and invisible material contamination. We offer our respectful obeisances to you as the Supreme Spiritual Master of the knowledge in devotional service.
Yes, again, Vedic hymns and sacrificing ingredients, worshipable, universal prayers. These are the prayers. Supreme Spiritual Master of the knowledge in devotional service. Prabhupada writes this qualification of bhakti. What is the qualification of bhakti? The devotional service is that the devotee should be free from all material contamination. Because we are offering this prayer, we offer our obeisances unto you. You can be realized by the pure mind, free from all visible and invisible material contamination. The third line. Vairagya bhaktyatmaja yanubhavitah. Vairagya bhaktyatmaja yanubhavitah. Atmajayanubhavitah. Only by vairagya and bhakti. Therefore, contamination. What is the qualification for bhakti? Prabhupada writes at third line. That vairagya. One should have freedom from material desires. And that is the basic qualification for bhakti. And again, Prabhupada is telling, one who engages in devotional service to the Lord according to regulatory principle, 64 regulatory principles are according to the direction of the Guru Maharaj, spiritual master, one automatically becomes freed from material desires. Because bhakti means it's like small child. He's very, analogy is given, he's very eager to jump here, there, everywhere. But the intelligent mother, what she does, she doesn't give him, she doesn't sit with him. And after, because if she sits with him, he will want that he wants to sit in her lap forever. But she will design such plans by which she can engage him. Similarly, the soul is by nature active. It has desire. Monistic theory speaks about killing the desire. But the bhakti path speaks about engaging the desire. So the spiritual master creates engagement, yukta, nectar of devotion mentioned. The activities where a person is engaged in service for the Lord purifies him. So that is the mission of the spiritual master. Vyavasayapika buddhi ekehi kurunandana. So Prabhupada writes in the purport, quoting Chakravarti Path, that one has to take the order of spiritual master as one life and soul. That instruction to perform some mission purifies us. So Prabhupada is writing here, Vairagya, Bhakti, Anubhavita. Lord is realized by when one becomes free from material desires. But material desire, to become free from material desire, one has to practice bhakti, being engaged under the Guru. Then that pure state of mind, one can realize personality of Godhead, and that pure state of mind is called as Vasudeva or Shuddha Shattva. So personality of Godhead being situated in everyone's heart instructs the devotee regarding pure devotional service so that he may ultimately achieve the ascension of the Lord. Tesham sudaktanam vijatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhiyogam tam yena mam upyantate. Those are constantly engaged in devotional service of the Lord, faith and love. The Lord certainly gives the intelligence to him at the end, ultimate end of life. Mataji, can you read this last two points?
One has to conquer the mind, and one may do it by following the Vedic rituals and by performing different types of sacrifice. The ultimate end of all those performances is to attain bhakti, or the devotional service of the Lord. Without bhakti, one cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The original personality of Godhead or his innumerable Vishnu expansions are the only objects of worship by all the Vedic rituals and sacrificial performances.
Yes. Basically, one cannot become free of material desire, or one cannot become free of material desire without practicing bhakti. And the purpose of bhakti is not to become free of material desire, but the purpose of bhakti is to engage in the Lord. So only when bhaktya vairagya, that time Lord's anubhava can happen. Damstragra kotya bhagavam swayadrita virajate budhara busa budhara yatavanam nisharato datadrita matan gajendrasya sapatra padmini. It's quoted. Elephant. Lord lifted the earth and he came out like the king of element coming out of the water after bathing. This is what is being mentioned here. Yes. Parmeshwari Mataji, please read.
Yes, Prabhu. Oh, lifter of the earth with its mountains, which you have lifted your turn beautifully as a lotus flower, with leaves sustained lotus of an infuriated elephant just coming out of the water.
Yes, when elephant is infuriated, how it comes with the lotus flower which is hanging on its tusk. Similarly, you're lifting, bringing out earth is compared to the lotus here. Yes. So fortune of the earth plant is praised because of its being specifically sustained by the Lord. So by coming in touch with the Lord, its beauty is appreciated and compared to that of a lotus flower situated on the tusk of an elephant. The lotus flower with leaves is very beautiful situated on the tusk of an elephant. So this world with its many beautiful mountains appeared similarly situated on the tusk of Varahadev. This is an analogy. Trimayam rupamidam chashaukaram bhumandalena tadata dratena te chakasti shagno daraganena bushvuyasha Pulachalendrasyateva vibrama. Another analogy comes. Like the mountain, when the cloud is floating on it, mountain gives shelter to the cloud. The cloud becomes attractive. Anyway, cloud is always floating, but when it comes in touch with the mountain, it becomes attractive. Similarly, earth by coming in contact with the Varahadev has become very attractive. That is the analogy the sages are glorifying here. Yashika Mataji, please read.
Oh Lord, O Lord, as the peaks of great mountains become beautiful when decorated with clouds, your transcendental body has become beautiful because of your lifting the earth on the edge of your tusk. Although, Prabhuji, pura padna hai purport.
पढ़िए ना.
Okay. The word Vibhrama is significant. Vibhrama means illusion as well as beauty. When a cloud rests on the peak of a great mountain, it appears to be sustained by the mountain, and at the same time, it looks very beautiful. Similarly, the Lord has no need to sustain the earth on his tusk. But when he does so, the world becomes beautiful, just as the Lord becomes more beautiful because of his pure devotees on the earth. Although the Lord is transcendental personification of the Vedic hymns, he has become more beautiful because of his appearance to sustain the earth.
Yes, because already Lord is spiritual, but because of his pastime sustaining the earth, he becomes even more glorious. Samstapayanam jagatam satashputa tashpusham lokaya patnim asimataram pita videma chasya namasha sahatvaya yashyam swatejo agnim ivarnava adaha. Yes, Sachindari Mataji, please read.
O Lord, for the residential purposes of all inhabitants, both moving and non-moving. This earth is your wife, and you are the Supreme Father. We offer our respectful obeisances unto you, along with Mother Earth, in whom you have invested your own potency, just as an expert sacrificer puts fire in the arani wood.
Yes. Some potency is being mentioned here. Prabhupada is highlighting about that potency. If you see this mantra, Videma chasya namasha sadvaya yashyam swatejo agnim ivaranama ada. Just like in earlier stick, there is fire inbuilt, internal energy. Similarly, in the planet, there is gravitational force. That's swatejo, because of which it is floating on the surface, in the space around the water. That is what Prabhupada starts with. Yes, Mother, please read this one, the so-called law of gravitation.
The so-called law of gravitation, which sustains the planets, is described herein as the potency of the Lord. This potency is invested by the Lord in the same way that an expert sacrificial Brahmana puts fire in the arani wood by the potency of Vedic mantras. By this arrangement, the world becomes habitable for both the moving and non-moving creatures. The conditioned souls who are residents of the material world are put into the womb of Mother Earth in the same way the seed of a child is put by the father into the womb of the mother. This conception of the Lord and the earth as father and mother is explained in Bhagavad Gita 14.4. Conditioned souls are devoted to the motherland in which they take their birth, but they do not know their father. The mother is not independent in producing children. Similarly, material nature cannot produce living creatures unless in contact with the Supreme Father, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Srimad Bhagavatam teaches us to offer obeisances unto the Father, the Supreme Lord, along with the Mother, because it is the Supreme Father only who impregnates the Mother with all energies for the sustenance and maintenance of all living beings, both moving and non-moving.
Yes. So basically, this material nature is like mother, and Lord is like the father. So that is what Prabhupada is bringing from this glorification of Varadev and Bhumi. Swatejo Arani Ararnava. Kashaddaditana matastava prabho Brasamgataya Bhuva Udvibharahanam Na Vishmayo Aso Tvai Vishwa Vishmaye Yomaedam Sasarje Ati Vishmayam. Creation. Yes. So what is speaking about? Only a person who is like an animal cannot find the hand of Lord behind the cosmic manifestation. This is the prayer. Sachin Prabhu, please read. You need to unmute yourself, Sachin Prabhu.
Who else but you, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, could deliver the earth from within the water? It is not very wonderful for you. However, because you acted most wonderfully in the creation of the universe, by your energy, you have created this super wonderful cosmic manifestation.
So who else but you, if they are offering such as Varadev, could deliver the earth from within the water, because you know inside out of the whole cosmic manifestation, because you are the manufacturer, you are the creator. You can read the purport first.
When a scientist discovers something impressive to the ignorant mass of people, the common man without inquiry accepts such a discovery as wonderful. But the intelligent man is not struck with wonder by such discoveries. He gives all credit to the person who created the wonderful brain of the scientist. A common man is also struck with wonder by the wonderful action of material nature, and he gives all credit to the cosmic manifestation without inquiring into the brain behind it. The learned Krishna conscious person, however, knows well that behind the cosmic manifestation is the brain of Krishna, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 9.10. Maya Dekshana Prakriti Suyate Sacharacharam. Since Krishna can direct the wonderful cosmic manifestation It is not at all wonderful for him to assume the gigantic form of a boar and thus deliver the earth from the mire of the water. A devotee is therefore not astonished to see the wonderful boar because he knows that the Lord is able to act far more wonderfully by his potencies, which are inconceivable to the brain of even the most erudite scientist.
Yes. So who else but Lord could find out the earth and bring it back to its place? So it's speaking about a super wonderful cosmic manifestation. That means Lord is the source of this material world, intelligent man. So Prabhupada is giving this analogy of scientists, they discover something impressive, which is they are not, which is ignorant to the mass of the people. The common man might be very much uh, stuck by it. But somebody who knows it already, he understands that it's not that wonderful thing which is attractive. It's the person or the wonderful brain behind the scientist who gave it. Similarly, behind the nature is whose nature? Lord's nature. The cosmic manifestation is Lord's. Therefore, devotee doesn't get stuck by the nature, but he sees this nature is being orchestrated by Supreme Lord. Vidunvata Vedamayam Nijam Vapur Janastapa Satya Nivashino Vayam Shatashiko Dutta Shivam Bubindubir Vimranjamana Brusham Isha Pavitaha. Yes, who else is remaining? I think we have finished second loop. Suryakan Krishna was driving. Mataji, will be able to read? Vajgori Mataji. I think you are in traffic.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, it is difficult for me also.
Yeah,
Sorry.
okay. You can hear. Anand Mohan, please read.
O Supreme Lord, undoubtedly we are inhabitants of the most pious planets, the Janas, Tapas, and Satyalokas. But still we have been purified by the drops of water sprinkled from your shoulder hairs by the shaking of your body. Ordinarily, the body
Yes,
of a
Prabhuji.
hog is.
So what is being this thing is being spoken is, O Supreme Lord, undoubtedly we are from higher planet systems. Then the higher planet systems are the people who are in the Satyaloka, Tapaloka, Marloka, they are not grossly sinful. They can say they are pious, but not grossly pious. They are subtly pious. And if there somebody is very grossly pious, they go to heaven. But somebody is beyond the material bodily concept, but wants to control, he goes to the Satyaloka, Tapaloka, Maharloka. That means, but still, they have the lording over mentality of Siddhi. They have different powers. So that contamination was purified when Lord's when he went into the Garbhotaka ocean, his whole body, like when a boar goes inside the water, his whole hairs are soaked in water. It stands like a spike. Sometimes it shakes the tail and everything. Sometimes it comes and falls on the cloth. People go and take bath. They're thinking, oh, it's muchi, muchi, muchi. The same thing. Also in the boar's body, Lord is jumped into the Garbhodaka ocean, is coming out and sprinkling. But that sprinkling, Prabhupada is comparing Vaman from the lotus feet, Ganga is emanating. So from Varadev's tip of the hair, water has touched his body. That is also not different from Ganga. And that is equally purifying. That is what Prabhupada ends the purport with. Yes, please read the purport. Even such people who are in higher planet systems, their contamination of lording it over got purified by the sprinkling of this boar's Varadev's tip of the hair.
Ordinarily, the body of a hog is considered impure. But one should not consider that the hog incarnation assumed by the Lord is also impure. That form of the Lord is the personified Vedas and is transcendental. The inhabitants of the Jana, Tapas, and Satyalokas are the most pious persons in the material world. But because those planets are situated in the material world, there are so many material impurities there also. Therefore, when the drops of water from the tips of the Lord's shoulder hairs were sprinkled upon the bodies of the inhabitants of the higher planets, they felt purified. The Ganges water is pure because of its emanating from the toe of the Lord. And there is no difference between the water emanating from the toe and that from the tips of the hair on the shoulder of the Lord bore. They are both absolute and transcendental.
Basically, both are in touch with the Lord. One is from Varadev, another is from Vamandev. Therefore, what is Ganga? Which is, there is a water beyond the cosmic manifestation, Viraja. When the covering, the whole Viraja is filled with Viraja river. And all the whole cosmos is floating in Mahavishnu's body, it is coming out in the Viraja river. And the covering of the universe is floating in that Virja river. So when that covering of the universe was penetrated by Vamandev's foot, that Virja water fell on his foot and came down as Ganga. So this Garbhodaka water is touching Varahadev, and it is also becoming Ganga because Ganga is based on Charanamrita of the Lord, or bodily water of the Lord. So whether it is Varahadev, whether it is Vamandev, or whether it's Krishna. Yamuna is much more purified because it is touching Krishna. And Ganga becomes 1,000 times more purified, becomes Yamuna. That is what some of the quoted in some Purana. It comes in Prabhupada purport also. In the first canto, 17th chapter, Parikshit going and sitting and fasting till death and trying to hear Bhagavatam. There Prabhupada mentions Yamuna is much more purified because Lord Krishna is played there. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again, Lord Krishna came and played in Ganga, therefore it also become non-different from Yamuna. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not different from Krishna. So in that way they have become equal now. Savaivata vrashta matistavaishate yakarmanam paramapara karmana yadyogamaya gunayogamohitam vishwam samastam bhagavan videhisam.
Translation. O Lord, there is no limit to your wonderful activities. Anyone who desires to know the limits of your activities is currently nonsensical. Is certainly nonsensical. Everyone in this world is conditioned by the powerful mystic potencies. Please bestow your causeless mercy upon these conditioned souls.
So there is no limit to your wonderful activities. Basically, is Ananta. And somebody wants to know, one cannot understand because Lord is not limited. Yes, Mataji. Prabhupada speaks about mental speculator, Vishwa Samastam, how people are not aware, even spiritual people are not aware. And then how one cannot know Lord by mental speculation, one has to take up Bhakti. These three things Prabhupada mentioned in the purport. Please read. Mental speculators.
First, mental speculators who want to understand the limits of the unlimited are certainly nonsensical. Every one of them is captivated by the external potencies of the Lord. The best thing for them is to surrender unto Him, knowing Him to be inconceivable, for thus they can receive His causeless mercy. This prayer was offered by the inhabitants of the higher planetary system, namely the Jana, Tapas, and Satyalokas, who are far more intelligent and powerful than humans. The word Vishwam Samastam are very significant here. There are material world and the spiritual world. The sage prays, both worlds are bewildered by your different energies. Those who are in the spiritual world are absorbed in your loving service, forgetting themselves and you also. And those in the material world are absorbed in material sense gratification and therefore also forget you. No one can know you because you are unlimited. It is best not to try to know you by unnecessary mental speculations. Rather, kindly bless us so that we can worship you with causeless devotional service.
Yes. So in spiritual world, because they are absorbed in the mood of service, they forget that Lord is Lord. In material world, because of sense gratification, they forget the Lord is Lord. Then how one can know the Lord? By causeless devotional service, especially for the people in the material world. They can know the Lord. So therefore, if the Jana, Tapa, Maharloka people are offering this, that to know you, we should give our mental speculation and here practice bhakti. What to speak of, they are so expert mental speculators. They are having such siddhis. They are offering this prayer. What to speak of people of this world? How much they should take to bhakti? Maitri Vacha iti upsitya manosvo munived brahmavadivi shalile sva kurakranta upadatta vitavanim. Yes, Jayannath, going Prabhuji.
Translation. The sage Maitreya said, the Lord, being thus worshipped by all the great sages and transcendentalists, touched the earth with his hooves and placed it on the water.
Yes. Now, how earth is standing on water? Prabhupada is going to write about it. Please read, Prabhuji.
The earth was placed on the water by his inconceivable potency. The Lord is all powerful, and therefore he can sustain the huge planets either on the water or in the air, as he likes. The tiny human brain cannot conceive how these potencies of the Lord can act. Man can give some vague explanation of the laws by which such phenomena are made possible. But actually, the tiny human brain is unable to conceive of the activities of the Lord, which are therefore called inconceivable. Yet, the frog philosophers still try to give some imaginary explanations.
Yes. So basically, Lord with his hooves placed the Bhumandala on that water surface. स इत्थं भगवानुर्विं विश्वक्षेण प्रजापति रसया लीलयो नित्यम् आप्सुन्यास्याययो हरि. Subhalakshmi Mataji, please read.
In this manner, the personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, the maintainer of all living entities, raised the earth from within the water, and having placed it afloat on the water, he returned to his own abode.
Please read the purport.
The personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, descends by his will to the material planets in his innumerable incarnations for particular purposes, and again he goes back to his own abode. Hence he is called an avatar, because avatar means one who descends. Neither the Lord himself nor his specific devotees who come to this earth are ordinary living entities like us.
Yes. So basically, one who descends is avatar. So Varadev, it is Vara avatar. He did his task and he went back. Ye evam etam harimedaso hare katam subhatram kataniyamayina shanvita bhaktya shavayate oshatam osatim janardano siyashu hridi prashiddati. Shrutifala of hearing this pastime, reading this pastime and speaking about this pastime with devotional mode. Evam etam harimedaso hare, consciousness of Lord Hari, katam subhadram kataniya mainam, one who hears, one who speaks. Shunvita bhaktya shavayeta voshatim, one who hears Shunvita shavayeta, that means one who speaks. Janardano asyashu hridi prashiddati, Lord Hari becomes pleased, who is placed in his core of the heart. Yes. Sachi Sundari Mataji, please read.
If one hears and describes in a devotional service attitude this auspicious narration of Lord Bore, which is worthy of description, the Lord, who is within the heart of everyone, is very pleased.
Please read the purport.
In his various incarnations, the Lord appears, acts, and leaves behind him a narrative history which is as transcendental as he himself. Every one of us is fond of hearing some wonderful narration, but most stories are neither auspicious nor worth hearing because they are of the inferior quality of material nature. Every living entity is of the superior quality, spirit, soul, and thus nothing material can be auspicious for him. Intelligent persons should therefore personally hear and cause others to hear the descriptive narrations of the Lord's activities, for that will destroy the pangs of material existence. Out of his causeless mercy only, the Lord comes to this earth and leaves behind narrations of his merciful activities so that the devotees may derive transcendental benefit.
Yeah, basically Lord comes because so that he perform pastime, so that all of us can read it, hear it, speak it, delight in it. So two pastimes Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is always there. Prahlad Maharaj pastime, Dhruva Maharaj pastime. So purpose of the Lord's pastimes is mentioned here. If with an attitude of devotional service one hears and describes this auspicious narration of any of the Lords, which are actually worthy of hearing, the Lord within the heart of everyone is very pleased. And we are purified of material existence. Basically, Shrotavyadi Rajendra Nanam Santi Saraswata. Unlimited message, unlimited things to watch, hear, speak, but they are apashyatam atmatattvam. They have no atmatattva, neither bhakti tattva. But Krishna's pastime, Lord's pastime, any of in Bhagavatam, by hearing that, we come close to Lord's lotus feet. we can have transcendental benefit. So therefore, we should keep on reading Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, hearing it, speaking about it. Tasmin prasanne shakala shisham prabhu kim durlabam ta viralam lavatmabi ananya drishtya bhajatam bhuvashaya swayam vidatte swagatim paraparam. Yes. Shiromani Radhika Mataji, please read.
Nothing remains unachieved when the Supreme Personality of God is pleased with someone. By transcendental achievement, one understands everything else to be insignificant. One who engages in transcendental loving service is elevated to the highest perfectional stage by the Lord Himself, who is seated in everyone's heart.
Yes. So what is being spoken here is the shloka. Nothing remains unachieved. Tasmin prasanne shakalashisham prabho kim durlabam taviralam lavatmabi. What is that which can be not be achieved? If ananya drashte bhajatam budhashaya. That is, one who engages in transcendental loving service is elevated to the highest perfection stage by the Lord Himself, who said it, Swayam vidatte swagatim param param. Again, the same theme of shloka is mentioned in 284. Shunvata Shraddhaya Nityam Granatasva Cheshtitam Kalena Atidirigena Bhagavan Ushete Hari Shunvata Swagata Krishna Punya Shravan Kirtanat. That also speaks about Dunoti Shamalam Krishna. Again. So this is all 2.1.1, 1.2.10 it comes, and this 2.8.4. And this is similar also. There is Swayam Vidatte Swagatim Paraparam. Lord Himself personally it takes the living entity, that devotee, to the highest perfectional stage, one who engages in hearing or performing bhakti in his life. Again, Prabhupada quotes, Tesham Satattanam Bhajatam Priti Purvakam. Basically, what the most important thing to realize Lord is bhakti. One who engages in bhakti, the Lord gives him the knowledge by which he can come in contact with devotees or come to the point of becoming pure devotee and achieve the highest perfectional stage. Like somebody may not read, somebody may not be able to attend, he may not be literate, but still they are, by the dint of their practices in previous life or in this life, somehow they get to hear from some devotee and they develop some attachment, and they develop an attitude of service towards the Lord. Just by that service attitude, Krishna gives them the knowledge by which internally, as Antaryami, by which they can come to the Lord. That is what Prabhupada is speaking. Mataji, can you read this purport? All these 3 points.
Yes. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 10.10, the Lord gives intelligence to the pure devotees so that they may be elevated to the highest perfectional stage. It is confirmed herein that the pure devotee who constantly engages in the loving service of the Lord is awarded to all knowledge necessary to reach the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For such a devotee, there is nothing valuable to be achieved but the Lord's service. If one serves faithfully, there is no responsibility of frustration because the Lord Himself takes charge of the devotee's advancement. The Lord is seated in everyone's heart and He knows the devotee's motive and arranges everything achievable. In other words, the pseudo-devotee who is anxious to achieve material gains cannot attain the highest perfectional stage because the Lord is in knowledge of his motive. One simply has to become sincere in his purpose, and then the Lord is there to help in every way.
Basically, by sincere service, sincerity of purpose, Prabhupada mentioning here. If one has sincerity of purpose, the Lord is there to help in every way. This gives a lot of hope for all the devotees. If somebody is sincerely practicing, then surely success is guaranteed for the rigid practitioner. Onamaloke Purushartha Sarva Saravit Pura Katanam Bhagavat Kata Sudam अपि ये कर्णाञ्जलिभिर्भवापहम् अहो विरज्येत विना नरेतरम्. The last sloka of this chapter. Yes, who else is remaining to read? Okay, Parmeshwar, Yashika Mataji, please read.
Who other than one who is not a human being can exist in this world, not be interested in the ultimate goal of life? Who can refuse the nectar of narrations about the personality of God's activities, which by itself can deliver one from the all material pangs? Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The narration of the activities of the personality of Godhead is like a constant flow of nectar. No one can refuse to drink such nectar except one who is not a human being. Devotional service to the Lord is the highest goal of life for every human being, and such devotional service begins by hearing about the transcendental activities of the personality of Godhead. Only an animal or a man who is almost an animal in behavior can refuse to take an interest in hearing the transcendental message of the Lord. There are many books of stories and histories in the world, but except for the histories or narrations on the topics of the personality of Godhead, none are capable of diminishing the burden of material pangs. Therefore, one who is serious about eliminating material existence must chant and hear the transcendental activities of the personality of Godhead. Otherwise, one must be compared to the non-humans.
Yes. Only an animal or a man who is almost like an animal in behavior can refuse to take interest in hearing the transcendental messages of the Lord. Therefore, if we continue hearing, reading Bhagavatam, delighting in it, then we are human beings. Yes. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of third canto, 13th chapter, Srimad Bhagavatam and experience of Lord Bhagadev. So we have some time left. If somebody has any comments, want to share something, want to ask something, you can. Otherwise, we will end. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vasant Gaur Bhaktivedanta ki. So
Jai.
kindly complete your OBIs, CBIs, whichever is there. Try to complete it, and we'll have 2 more weeks, and then we'll, in between 25th, 26th, 31st, and 1st, we may not have the sessions. Janmashtami time for 2 weeks. So again, we'll meet next weekend.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Prabhuji, regarding OBS, we have, I mean, I have not written the references. So should I send it again, the OBS with references?
You can mention the references and you can send them. We can upload. Take it.
Okay. Okay.
Mentioning references will help a lot.
Okay. Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.